An enthralling competition is in its second leg. One more day of twists and turns and towing and tugging on the questions before the third and the final leg is thrown open to them. And fascinatingly, the bunch that competes today brings with them memories of missed chances, hurt of half attempts, and in general, issues from previous years that are begging to be resolved. Welcome along to the 12th Udaan Business Leadership Quiz. It's organized by the Steel Authority of India Limited, National HRD Network Ranchi Chapter, and National HRD Network, and brought to you in association with our sponsor, IILM University. We've planted ourselves in the West today after the flight of fancy from the East, where the two-time defending winner had a tough outing till eventually a new sun rose in the East. And like the previous 10 years of Udaan, I'll be your host and quizmaster, Ajay Punya. Now, join me in welcoming our 6 worthy West Zone contestants who have weathered a precarious journey of 2 prelims amongst the finest of the West. As participant 1, our only new entrant at the West Zone final, a new challenger is Ayman Ali from Sale Bhilai. Next on the list is runner-up in the West Zone last year with bigger ambitions for this year is Rajarshi Chanda from Fujitsu. Joining last year's runner-up is last year's winner as well. So both of them are back to fight another day. This is the defending zonal winner, Shantanu Sharma from Avid Learning. As participant 4 is a zonal finalist from 2020, back again after recharging himself with new vigor and new energy, is Vikas Piprani from Pixel. Our penultimate participant is a familiar face in the West Zone, but hasn't quite made the leap into the national final. Perhaps today, this is Umesh Malayat from Sale Bhilai. And finally, another familiar competitor in the West, hoping to break the shackles and make himself known at the national stage, is Francis Rodriguez from HDFC Live. Welcome all of you. And as the tagline goes, there's a little bit of sale in everybody's life. There is a bit of sale in today's quiz as well, like yesterday. But can the Bhilai participants replicate what their colleagues from Rourkela did yesterday? We'll find out. For now, I'd like to welcome the 2 pillars of strength of Udaan. Firstly, Shri Atanu Mukherjee, GM in charge, Academics and Acting, CGM, HRD, MTI Sale. Sir, pleased to have you with us. If you may please address the gathering.
Thank you very much, Ajay Punya sir. And good evening to all the participants of West Zonal Final of Udaan 2022 12th Business Leadership Quiz. And Quizmaster Sri Ajay Punya and the representative from NHRD Network and the team MTI. It's indeed a great privilege for me to address the budding quizzer who have reached here after a grilling of 2 rounds of prelims. There are many who could not make it to the zonal final, so my congratulations to them for their commendable performance. Udaan Business Leadership Quiz is a flagship event of MTI Sale and NHRD Ranchi chapter. Quizzing, as you know, is a very powerful medium for self-development and promoting learning culture in the organization. Udaan provides the opportunity to grow, learn, and visualize the big picture for taking up the leadership role in future. I must congratulate the quizmaster and the Rijwan Sab, who is the coordinator of Udaan 2022, and Team MTI, and all those persons associated for their sustained effort, which has established the Udaan as a plan for quizzing. With this, I would urge all the finalists to display the finest quality of quizzing in the zonal finals and make a statement for the national final. All our best wishes to you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Over to Ajay Punia sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir's words will certainly resonate with each of the contestants, for they get ready for a rousing performance. So participants, the objective is clear. If you're in the top 2, your journey in Udaan lasts another 15 days. But if not, that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. Actually, no, we will, because there is guaranteed prizes for all 6 of you. The fact that you've reached here, you will receive a prize of ₹5,000. But if you can shoulder the expectations of all those who've burdened you with expectations and finish amongst the top 2, you will, like I said earlier, qualify for the final and will be rewarded with ₹25,000 and ₹15,000 as well. And of course, not to forget, to our lovely audience who are watching us, well, you can participate alongside and win some prizes too. All you have to do is go to Twitter, follow National HRD Network at NHRDN, listen to the audience question that I will be asking after every round, reply with your answer to National HRD Network at NHRDN on the same tweeted question, along with hashtag Udaan 2022. Please remember, it must include hashtag Udaan 2022. And of course, there's going to be prizes for the winner being the one with the fastest correct answer. Right? So we'll play with the participants, we'll play with the audience, so everybody gets to. That's how this quiz is. So now to the final head-scratching, nerve-jangling ifs, buts, and maybes filled 4 rounds of quizzing. It's time for round 1. Round 1 is a crossword. I'll be giving you 5 questions, all of them on the buzzer, 15 seconds of time per question. There are 3 buzzers allowed for every question. Points: if you're the first on the buzzer, you get 10. If you're the second on the buzzer, you get 7. If you're the third on the buzzer, you get 4. There's a flat -5 for a wrong answer on the buzzer, so please don't get wrong answers. We had a fine start yesterday. All 5 of the questions were answered by, I think, 3 different participants. So I look forward to a fair bit of diversity in terms of where the answers are coming from, at least in the first round, and then later, you can decide the course of action for this quiz. All right, so we'll start. Good luck, everyone. There's a crossword that's coming your way, and this is what it looks like. We'll go in order. We'll start with 1 down, then we go to 2 down, 3 across, 4 down, and 5 across. So let's start. Here's the first question for the West Zone final here at 12th Udaan Business Leadership Quiz. Your question now. As a result of a certain people's movement during the second UPA government, the government enacted an act that's on the left in 2013. A retired judge of the Supreme Court, the person in the middle, was appointed the first chairperson in 2019, and in May 2022, he demitted office. Since then, the person on the right, this judicial member, is acting as the chairperson. My question is, what people's friend is this body? On the buzzer first is Umesh. Yes, Umesh.
I'll say this is Lokpal.
You'll say Lokpal as the people's friend. That is correct. That's the answer. That's well done there, Umesh. The Lokpal and Lokayuktas Act 2013. That was Justice Pinaki Chandra Ghosh in the middle, who demitted office in May 2022, and Justice Pradeep Kumar Mohanty, the current chairperson. That's well done. Umesh begins this quiz with a 10-pointer as we move on to placing Lokpal in the crossword. Right. Now we go to 2 down. Here's number 2. It's also a 6-letter answer. In 2017, Legal and General America launched an easy and engaging way to get a life insurance quote by tying up with Lapidus Solutions, a company that created a new facial analytics technology. They provide a quote by estimating an individual's age, gender, and body mass index based on the photograph uploaded by the user. What is this life insurance quote called? On the buzzer first is Francis. Yes, Francis.
It's called a selfie quote. I mean, you take a selfie and from the selfie you get a quote.
You take a selfie and you upload it. It's called a selfie quote. The answer is indeed the selfie quote. That's well done. Good answer there, Francis. So 10 to Umesh, 10 to Francis. Two of you opened your accounts on the very first couple of questions. Let me place selfie now after awarding 10 points to Francis to placing selfie on the not the scoreboard, but the crossword. Now we go to 3 across. There's an E, there's an A. Here's my question. The fact that this country uses advanced farming technologies has made this small country second only to the US in export of agricultural produce. In fact, more than half of its land is used for agriculture. Its rise as a hub of global agri-food business is irrefutable, as global giants like Nestle, Coke, Unilever, Cargill, Kraft Heinz have all made made major R&D centers in the country. My question is, which country? On the buzzer is Vikas.
This is Netherlands.
This is Netherlands, is the second biggest exporter of agricultural produce worldwide. Nestle, Coke, Unilever, Cargill, everybody has their R&D center in the Netherlands. That is absolutely correct. That's a good answer there, Vikas. And interestingly enough, in about an hour from now, Netherlands is going to be playing a match against the US. So, I mean, I didn't design it to be this way. Neither did those guys when they qualified for the round of 16. But pretty interestingly, both US and Netherlands, who we're addressing to in this question, are going to be playing against each other in the World Cup. But that's 10 points to Vikas. That's a good answer. Well done. Let me place Netherlands. Now we go to S down. The S, the last letter of Netherlands. So we go to S down. Here's my question. Which company founded 20 years ago in the UK that uses application of the spectrogram would you get from these clues? On the buzzer first is Rajarshi. Yes, Rajarshi.
Yeah, this is Shazam.
This is Shazam. How would you get Shazam from?
Yeah, the superhero is called Shazam, and Shazam was a music application, where you could play the song or maybe a lyric of the song. It would identify the song and play it for you. It was acquired by Apple. So that's how I
That's it.
Shazam.
You've given me every part that there was to give. That is indeed correct. As you identified, that's Captain Marvel from DC Comics. And initially in 2002, when Shazam was launched, you could actually call the number 2580 and then they would respond and tell you with whatever music you wanted them to recognize. So they would do that for you. And in 2018, as Rajarshi said, it was acquired by Apple for about $400 million. So good answer there, Rajarshi. That's a 10-pointer to you. 4 questions done. 4 different participants have scored 10. So that's very interesting. There's one more question coming. And that's 5 across. Short, sweet, 4-letter answer. Here's my question. By focusing on the 4 E's, engineering, enforcement, education, and emergency, Sweden led a road safety movement in the 1990s that has now spanned across the globe, including in Haryana in 2017. An ISSA initiative that aims to prevent harm at work and has found ambassadors across the globe also uses the same name. What is the numerical name for the shared vision? On the buzzer is Shantanu.
It's EE30.
Say that again.
EE30
is incorrect. That's not the answer. There's nobody else that I was looking that was interested on the buzzer, but you just had to give me a simple numerical name, the simple numerical name for the shared vision. And the answer to this is Vision 0. That's all that you had to say, not the EE30, etc. That you were saying. It's simply Vision 0. Vision 0 is the campaign by ISSA that was founded by ILO back in the 1950s. And it's also a Vision 0 that's a global campaign initially led by Sweden. Even Haryana adopted in 2017. So that's what I was looking for. That's a -5 there to Shantanu, the defending champion, starting on a negative note. Although lots of questions to come, lots of points still to be won. -5 there to Shantanu. That brings us to the end of round one. Over the course of today's quiz, the permutations are aplenty, and tensions are only going to rise. They're only guaranteed. That's gauging what has already gone on before between these participants, as well as what the 3 upcoming rounds have in store. We'll take our belongings and our search deep within them. For the next round, it's called Challengers Deep. In this round, every participant will get a direct question. I'll be giving you 10 seconds. Before you actually give me the answer, I'll give you 10 seconds to think about the question. And those 10 seconds will also be used for others to give an indication, give a hint, give a signal to others, to the direct participant that you'd like to challenge them. If the direct participant is very confident of the answer, they will accept the challenge and they will give the answer for +10 if correct, -5 if incorrect. However, if they're not too sure of the answer, they'll reject the challenge and let you answer for +10 and -5. If you don't give the answer either, you get a -5. Question will come back to the direct participant for a +5 and no negative. So this time you can only get a +5 because you didn't want to accept the challenge. So you won't get 10, you will only get 5. If you don't get a right answer either, then it goes to somebody else on the buzzer for +5 and -5. There are 2 buzzers allowed. In all 3 buzzers, challenger +2. But if there is no challenger, then only 2 buzzers. I hope that's clear. So we'll start. First question, we'll go in order of how we've organized the participants on screen. So first one will be Ayman from Sail Bhilai. Ayman, if you're ready, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, sure.
All right, here is your question. Others on the buzzer. So 2-part question, so I need both parts. In 2014, the biggest sponsor for FIFA was a company who has had a visible presence since the 1970 World Cup. It signed itself up until 2030 with a cool $800 million. A year later, the deal was surpassed by the real estate giant from a country whose national team has featured only once at the FIFA World Cup, while losing all its games. Name the 2 companies. Essentially, tell me the 2 biggest sponsors of FIFA. The first one, or the second now in order of the biggest sponsorship, has had a visible presence since 1970. And the first one is a real estate player from a country who's only featured once in the FIFA World Cup. All right, there's nobody presenting a challenge. Eman, you can give me an answer without the fear of negatives. Others on the buzzer, +5, -5. I need both parts. Eman, no negatives for you. You can take a guess.
I think one is Coca-Cola, but
And the other?
I'm not sure.
All right, so it's not Coca-Cola either. I'll have to close it here. There's nobody showing any interest on the buzzer. The answer that I was looking for, I said, has had a visible presence since the 1970 World Cup.
Is it McDonald's? Is it McDonald's by any chance?
Not McDonald's. It's somebody even more visible, without whom you can't really play the game. Adidas, who's been providing the footballs for the FIFA World Cup since 1970. In 2014, they renewed the contract with FIFA with $800 million. And a year later, Dalian Wanda came in from China and they topped it with $850 million. And both Adidas as well as Dalian Wanda's sponsorship continue till 2030. Right. And as we're aware that China only featured once in the World Cup, lost all its games. I think it was in 2002. Right. So that's what those were the 2 answers that I was looking for. No points to anyone. Next question will be a direct to Rajarshi. Rajarshi, this one's yours. Others on the buzzer. Look at the visual. There's something hidden in the top. And now my question. There are many origin stories of the iconic bow tie logo. A co-founder on one of his tours saw this design on a wallpaper. He tore the wallpaper and brought it home. Another one, he liked to doodle and the design was a eureka moment in one of his doodles. Another one, an inspirational ad by this coal company, the visual that you saw. And the fourth one is the eponymous race car driver, which was the other co-founder. drew inspiration from a key element in the flag of the country of his birth. Now, my question is, which company's logo origin stories are these? And which country was the eponymous co-founder born in? A key element from the flag of that country is sort of present in the bow tie logo. So 2 parts. There is nobody
Can I answer?
presenting a challenge. Hold on, Rajarshi. There's nobody presenting a challenge. You can give me an answer without the fear of negatives. 10 points if you're correct.
Yeah, the logo, the company is Chevrolet. The founder is Louis Chevrolet, the race car driver. And country would be France.
Chevrolet and France. I'm afraid that's not correct. I was guessing that somebody would have taken a cue from Rajarshi's first answer and then maybe hit the buzzer. France does not have the cross. If you've been watching the World Cup, it's a 3 stripes.
Sorry, you can hit the buzzer after the first 10 seconds also.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's not on challenge. That's only on the buzzer for +5. Anyway, Rajarshi, do you want to correct your answer?
Yeah, is it Switzerland?
It is Switzerland. Should have gone for it when you identified Chevrolet. You should have thought of which logo, which flags have the plus, and you're almost there. You identified nearly a border country in the same continent. Unfortunately, there I can't give you points. There are no part points. But this is indeed Chevrolet and Louis Joseph Chevrolet, who was born in Switzerland. So these are multiple origin stories of where the Chevrolet logo comes from. No points to anyone. We'll move on to the next one, and that's going to be for Shantanu. Shantanu, if you're ready, please unmute.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Here's my question. In the 17th century, the entire property consisted of a mansion, a townhouse, and a cottage. But now it's the townhouse as the center of attraction. Named after this Anglo-Irish preacher, who was also a soldier, statesman, diplomat, and even a spy. What property is being described that has drawn attention in India due to its resident tautological sage? So you have to tell me what property and who's the resident tautological sage. There is a challenge coming from Vikas. Shantanu, what would you like to do?
I'll let Vikas answer.
Vikas, go for it.
This is Rishi Sunak, the tautological sage, and the property being the residence where he stays. Is it the Windsor Castle? Not the Windsor Castle.
That's not the right answer. I'll pass the question back to Shantanu.
Okay, so you want the name after this?
Name the property and name the resident tautological sage. The question's still open on the buzzer.
I don't have negatives now, na?
No, +5 if you're correct.
Okay, so I'll say Rishi Sunak in the 10 Downing Street that is there. Which is the
right, and would you like to thank Vikas for helping you out there?
Yeah,
Vikas, you did the hard part. You missed out on the property. What castle did you say? Wilsdorf Castle?
No, Windsor. It was like it came off the cuff. I couldn't remember TDS.
Yeah. Shantanu has a lot to thank you for. That's a +5 there to Shantanu. That's well done. And Vikas, unfortunately, I'll have to give you a negative for only giving me one answer and not both. You did identify the more difficult part, which was Rishi Sunak. So the word Rishi, of course, is Rishi. Sunak is kind of corrupt, has been corrupt over the years, but essentially comes from Shaunak, who was also a sage. So it's a tautological term, basically 2 words describing the same thing. Right, so that's 10 Downing Street and Rishi Sunak. That's a +5 to Shantanu, -5 to Vikas. Vikas, I can help you with a direct question now. Hopefully, you'll get some there. Okay, here's my question for you, Vikas. Others on the buzzer. Look at the 2 visuals. And my question. A cool example of knowledge transfer across industries, in the mid-90s, this children's hospital, below or the one on the left that you saw, improved its ICU handoff process by consulting with a multiple-time world champion from Italy. The hospital recorded its surgery room operation and the Italians suggested a new protocol. After changing the protocol, the error percentage dropped from 30 to 10. Which social welfare system owns the hospital? Or you can tell me the name of the hospital, that's fine. And the world champion from which sport helped the hospital? So name the sport and also tell me the social welfare system that owns the hospital. So there are two parts. Open on the challenge for others. And nobody's taking the challenge. So Vikas, you can go for it without worrying about negatives.
No negatives, right?
No negatives, 10 points if you're right.
Can I have the image once again, please?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's the same that you already see in the visual right now.
Yeah.
It was just the ICU unit.
Okay.
Yeah. Give me an answer now.
World champion from the sport, Italy.
Name the sport and name the social welfare system.
The sport would be football.
Okay.
And the social welfare system would be, I think, like public dialysis machines.
Is not the answer. I'll pass the question on the buzzer to Francis for +5 and -5. Francis.
I think the sport, I'm relatively certain it is the F1 Formula 1 car racing piece. The hospital I had less idea of, so I'm going out on a limb here. I'm saying that since the social welfare system, it is in some sense owned by the UNESCO.
UNESCO's social welfare system, and you're saying Ferrari as and Formula One as the sport. Right, Francis, I'm afraid that's wrong. That's not the answer. That's a -5. You got half the answer correct. You are right about Ferrari. The cool knowledge transfer across industries is essentially the Ferrari pit crew helping out the hospital's ICU unit. That's pretty exciting, which essentially helped them to drop their error percentage from 30 to 10%.
Is it NHS?
Is correct. This was the NHS. This was the Great Ormond Street Hospital for Children. I originally thought that I'll ask you for the hospital, but then I thought, let it be. You know, I was thinking of giving you those Peter Pan clues and all that. Then I was like, oh God, this will be like a 100-word question. I'd rather just ask you for something simpler. Tell me who owns it. You know, either tell me the hospital, either tell me who owns it. That was the NHS, and this is the Ferrari Formula 1 pit. Oh dear. So, right, so that's a -5, Francis, nothing to Vikas. Next question to Umesh.
Yes.
Umesh, here's your question. Look at the visuals. Right, now my question. It was in the 1790s that this street equipment was invented by this Scottish inventor. The fact that it could be powered with a pipe supply made it far more efficient than candles to add to the increased lux or brightness. By the early 1800s, Paris and London had installed these along their streets as well, now obsolete due to the advent of electricity. What equipment is this? That's one. And two, following pandemic and vaccine, what recognition did it receive last week? There is a challenge, Umesh, by Shantanu. Tell me the street equipment and tell me what recognition following pandemic and vaccine did it receive last week? Okay, Umesh, you need to tell me.
I will reject the challenge.
All right, so you let Shantanu answer?
Yes.
Okay, Shantanu.
Yeah, so I think this is the gaslight lamp, and the word gaslight or gaslighting has been described by Merriam-Webster as the word of the year 2022. So I think pandemic and vaccine should have been the previous year's winners. So they are gaslight lamp and the recognition being this.
Right, that's the defending champion for you. Absolutely, that's the answer. It is indeed gaslight, which was replaced by electric versions. And last week it was named as the Merriam-Webster word of the year following pandemic and vaccine for the previous 2 years. It's a lovely answer there, Shantanu, on the challenge, gets you a +10. Very well done. Next question now, the final one for this round will be for Francis. Francis, you can keep your phone aside. This is your direct. Here's my question for you. In a recent email leak, it was revealed that one of the most celebrated non-fiction writer of today, X, has been embedded with a business hero turned zero. for the last 6 months to write his next book. The revelations of the past month have made the story too big for us to wait. That's what the letter said. Now, my question is, who's this author whose last book was about the US government's bungled response to the pandemic? And who's the disgraced business person? You have a challenge coming from Shantanu, Francis.
Yeah, I'll reject the challenge. I would like to answer, actually. And so accept the challenge, whatever it's called.
Accept
I would
the
like to
challenge.
answer.
You will answer.
Yeah.
All right, go for it. Plus 10, minus 5.
So Michael Lewis, who wrote Panic, is the author, and the book he's writing on, Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX.
Is perfect. Absolutely. That's the answer that I was looking for. This is indeed Michael Lewis and SPF. And in fact, Apple's also, it's believed that Apple's also nearing a deal to get the rights of whatever story comes out of this incident. And I'm sure it's going to be a wild one, especially the events of not just the last month, but also the last week when he's been going on a media tour. I don't know what his lawyers, are they really advising him anymore or not? But anyway, that's the answer that I was looking for. Brilliant half hour of quizzing. That's 10 points there to Francis. Lovely set of answers coming from our contestants who can't really help themselves but to pile on the pressure on each other by scoring on nearly every question. They're not going to lie down for any reputation, as they have and will keep coming back on terms. For now, I'll give them a breather and get the audience involved. Right, so audience, here's a question for you. You know the drill. Go to Twitter after I ask the question on the very same tweet where the question's put. You have to respond with hashtag Udaan 2022. If you're the fastest and if you're the correct one, you'll get a prize. Here's my question. In 1922, a businessman moved to a suburb on the outskirts of Milan. Thanks to a Dutch investor and a brand enthusiast, the brand is all set to make a comeback after becoming non-operational in the 1990s. My question is, which brand? 1922, a businessman moved to a suburb on the outskirts of Milan, and thanks to a Dutch investor, the brand is now set to make a comeback after being non-operational for past 25-30 years. Which brand is this? This is your question, audience. Visit Twitter and give your answer there along with the hashtag Udaan 2022. And when you come back, we will continue with the scores and further with the next couple of rounds. All right, then, welcome back, everyone. I hope you've already given your best attempt for the scorecard, for the question on the audience question on Twitter. And now we're all ready with the scorecard halfway into the quiz. It's a very exciting competition. And we'll take a look at where all these participants stand after the end of 2 rounds. Right. So at this point, you can see it's a fairly evenly paced competition. We have Francis, who's leading at this point. Although his lead is not by too much, it's fairly slender. He's on 15. And then there's 3 of them who's behind him at 10 points apiece. That's Rajarshi, Shantanu, and Umesh. All 3 of them at 10. Vikas got a correct answer, then got a wrong answer. So he's on 5. And Ayman, who's still to open his account. Still early days. It's a fairly wide spread, evenly spread out field. We have 2 more rounds to go. But before we move on, we also need to identify how we sort of organize them in the next round, because they won't be participating alone anymore. They'll be paired up with each other. This is round 3. So this round is called paired impaired. Every participant will get a question, but you'll get the question in the order of how you're paired with others. So first pair will include Francis and Rajarshi. Second pair will include Shantanu and Umesh. And the final pair will be Vikas and Emma. All right, so I'll tell you what the pairing would do. So first question will be a direct to Francis. Francis, question will come for you. If you know the answer, you tell me the answer. And I won't declare the answer immediately. I will pass the question to your paired participant, which is Rajarshi. So Rajarshi, you have to listen to his answer and then you accept or reject. Or you can pass. If you're uncertain, you can pass it also. After that, if the answer is correct and you've accepted it, I'll give the direct participant 10, I'll give the paired participant 5. If the answer was incorrect and if you've accepted it, both of you get a -5. Question passes on the buzzer. For +5 and -5, there are 2 buzzers only. So amongst the remaining 4 of you, only 2 of you will get a chance to hit the buzzer. You have 15 seconds of time after I'm done reading the question, by which you should have hit the buzzer if you're interested. If the answer was correct and if you reject it as a paired participant, the direct participant gets 10, the paired participant gets a -5. If the answer was incorrect and you reject it, the direct participant gets a -5. You can, and as a paired participant, you can correct it for a +10 after rejecting it, and then you can correct it for a +10 if you're correct, a -5 if incorrect. The option of passing is there because there's a negative for a wrong answer, but the option of passing is only to the direct and the paired participant, not to the participants on the buzzer. On the buzzer, it's for +5 and -5. On the direct or on the paired, if you intend to pass the question, there's no negative, but you don't get any positives either. So if you're all set, we'll start the first question with Francis. And Rajarshi, you're paired with him. So Francis, if you can please unmute. And other participants, you're on the buzzer. This question is a 2-part question, but essentially they go together. So I need both answers. You can't split them anyway. So I need you to give me both parts. So here's my question. Rajarshi, don't accept half answer. You can reject. If Francis gives half answer, you reject it and you correct it.
Sure.
And Francis, if you give half answer, that will be counted as a wrong answer and you'll get a -. Right, here's my question, but I don't think you'll miss out on the other if you get wrong. They're really closely connected. Here's my question to you, Francis, others on the buzzer. Mindtree and LTI merged together as a single entity last month. The firms are now housed under the Larsen & Toubro Group with a combined market cap of over 3.5 billion. The merger is the biggest in the Indian IT sector since what 2.7 billion merger in 2013. What 2 entities merged in 2013? The $2.7 billion merger. Francis, you can pass if unsure.
Okay, I'll try attempting it.
Sure.
I'll say this is
Quick.
Satyam Computers and Mahindra Tech.
All right. Rajarshi, you heard his answer?
Yes.
Accept or reject or pass?
I'll reject. But I don't know the answer, so I can pass it, right?
Yeah.
If I reject, I have to give an answer.
Yeah, I mean, you can reject and not give an answer also. That's okay.
But
there's no points for
right. So I'll pass it. I'll pass it.
So you'll pass. All right. Yeah, it makes more sense to pass if you can't correct it, right? Okay. So your answer was Satyam and Tech Mahindra, and Rajarshi decided to pass it. The answer is indeed Satyam and Tech Mahindra. That's well done, Francis. It's a good answer. Perhaps that delayed response got Rajarshi kind of confused.
So I was also worried that it was almost a bankruptcy kind of takeover, that thing. So whether it is the largest, but I said, let's go for it. You have to play brave somewhere.
Right. That's a lovely, not just a lovely answer there, Francis. Very well played in terms of how you actually played this question. Kept Rajarshi confused as well. So that's a +10 to Francis. Rajarshi, you don't get anything because you pass it. And again, I mean, it's if you can't correct the answer, you can always pass it, right? In this case, Rajarshi, because I'm accepting the fact that you pass it, because you rejected it first, but you were still thinking about it, so I'll let it be. But had you rejected it and said that I don't have an answer, I would have given you a -5. Well done on just saying pass. Okay. All right, so we'll continue. And next up is going to be Rajarshi. Francis, now you're paired with him. Francis, if you can unmute. Okay. So here's my question. On the previous one, Francis got a 10, Rajarshi got nothing. Let's see what happens this time. Rajarshi, this is your direct. The lines that follow in this shlok make up the slogan of which company? Ananyash chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham nityabhyuktanam. What follows? I mean, something follows, but it makes up the slogan of which company. You don't have to complete this slow. You just have to tell me the name of the company.
Yeah. I will say this is Yogakshemam Vahamyam of LIC,
All right.
Life Insurance Corporation of India.
Right. Francis, accept, reject, pass.
No, I think he's right. So I accept.
Right. How good is your Sanskrit, Francis?
I mean, Yogakshemam Bhamyam is what I came to and it rhymes. So apart from that, I don't have very good Sanskrit.
He works in life insurance. You better.
Yeah, he's playing his part really well there, Francis. He's really playing his non-quizzing aspect, right? Every time in football, it's not just about what you do with the ball, but what you also do off the ball. So that's exactly what Francis is taking inspiration from. That's a lovely answer there, both of you. That's a good one. It is indeed LIC's Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. So this is LIC. That's a +10 Rajarshi and a +5 to Francis. That's very good. We'll move on now to our next pair, and that is going to be, who was it? It was Shantanu and Umesh. Yes. So we'll go to Shantanu first, and Umesh, you're paired with him.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
whose
So here's
direct
your
is it?
question. Sorry, you were saying something?
Is it my direct?
Yes, Shantanu, this is your direct, and Umesh is paired with you. Okay. So here is, sorry, did I get that right? 1 second. Yeah. So we paired Rajarshi with Francis. So now we'll pair Shantanu with Umesh. Okay. So Shantanu, here's your direct question. Take a look at the visual. There's something that I've hidden in red on the first line. Both the reds are the same. They're the same words. Here's my question now. Before iPhone 14 was launched earlier this year, a designer scraped through the pre-release announcements by Apple to see what % of an iPhone announcement is dedicated to talking about a particular feature. One feature has dominated the dialogue significantly in the last 3 releases, unsurprisingly. What feature or specification is this? As much as 30% of the presentation time was given to this particular feature in the last 3 releases. Shantanu. You don't have to answer.
Yeah, I'll pass.
You'll pass. Umesh, do you have an answer of your own? +10, -5?
No, I'll pass.
You'll pass it as well. And you will pass it to Francis. Yes, Francis.
The number of cameras have increased. So I'm assuming that you're speaking about the camera.
Is
From
correct.
iPhone.
That's the answer. Absolutely. They spent about 30% of the time speaking of cameras, right? So that's what somebody did, scraping through all the presentation for launch of newer and newer iPhones, every new version that was launched. So this is indeed camera. That's a good answer there, Francis. That's 3 consecutive answers that you've got on the trot. That's very nice. In fact, 4 consecutive answers, 1 from the last round. That's very good. That's 10 points. Sorry, not 10, but 5 points to you on the buzzer. So that's 5 points to Francis. Next question will be a direct to Umesh, and Shantanu, you're paired with him. Here's my question, Umesh. A certain July 1969 decision by the government of India was justified as 665 of such entities failed between 1947 and 1969, and over 900 between 1935 to 1947. But even after 1969, over 35 have been on the brink of failure, but their merger saved them from disastrous consequences. What 1969 decision is this? Umesh.
I'll pass.
You'll pass. Shantanu, +10, -5?
Yeah, I like to attempt it.
Sure.
So 1969 is when the nationalization of banks took place. So that's
So
my
this
answer.
is the nationalization of banks.
By
35
the
of the banks
Indira Gandhi government.
have been on the brink of failure. That is correct. That's the answer. That's well done, Shantanu. Good answer there. You were paired with Umesh. Umesh, let it go for you. So you get a full tenner for this. That's well done, Shantanu. That's a 10-pointer for you. Very good. It is indeed the nationalization of banks. Even since the nationalization, over 35 of them have been on the brink of failure, but various mergers have saved them from disastrous consequences. So good answer, Shantanu. That gets you 10. Final pair now will be Vikas and Eman. Vikas, we'll play the first one with you. And Eman, please unmute. Others on the buzzer. Here's my question. Vikas, which organization created in the wake of the Second World War says it works to achieve sustainable growth and prosperity for all its member countries? Yet, all of its managing directors have been Europeans, even though it is headquartered in Washington, D.C. The picture is its governance structure. Which organization is this, created in the wake of Second World War? Vikas, are you giving me an answer?
Yeah, just a second. Okay, I'll pass.
You'll pass.
I'll give it to Ayman now.
Ayman, do you have an answer? Plus 10, minus 5?
No, I don't have any.
No. Question passes on the buzzer to Shantanu for plus 5 and minus 5. You're muted, Shantanu.
My guess would be the World Bank.
Your guess will be the World Bank. I'm afraid that is incorrect. What would have been your second guess?
IMF then.
IMF.
Would have been the right answer. Oh dear, this turned out to be a toss of a coin. Kristalina Georgieva is the current MD. Shantanu picked World Bank. It turned out to be the other one. This is the IMF, so that's a minus 5 there to Shantanu. Perhaps the color scheme? I don't know. Actually, World Bank also has a very similar color scheme. But nevertheless, that's a minus 5 to Shantanu. We'll move on to the final question of this round, and that's going to be a direct to Ayman.
Just a moment. I had a sort of power. This thing I'll just adjust.
We can hear you clearly. Do you want to test the buzzer once, Francis?
Yeah, I'll just do that.
That's also fine. So we'll continue.
Yeah.
Vikas, if you can please unmute. Eman, this is your direct. Vikas, you're paired with him. Okay, here's my question, Eman.
Yeah.
Cantor Fitzgerald, 658 employees. Marsh Inc., 295 employees. Aon Insurance, 175. Fiduciary Trust, 175. Windows on the World, 72. Car Futures, 69, and more. This is a certain incomplete list of the highest number of employees to the lowest on what fateful day? It's incomplete, but it's highest to lowest. I've organized them highest to lowest. On what fateful day? Ayman, do you have an answer?
No.
Passing. Vikas, plus 10, minus 5.
Okay, I will go for it. This is 9/11 World Trade Center attack, the fateful day, and the number of employees who died.
Is correct. Absolutely perfect. That's the answer. Companies that lost the most employees on 9/11. That is what I was looking for. Good answer there, Vikas. You didn't get your direct, you got Ayman's direct. So that means you get a plus 10 as a result of which. The lovely answer there. Very good. On that note, we bring an end to round 3. So much is still possible in the West Zone. So many could still celebrate come full time. But only 2 contestants can prosper and will. We don't know who yet, but the scoreboard will provide some indication. But before that, a question for the audience. All right, audience, here is a question for you. The company has chosen a rising A as its symbol. It says it represents the spirit of flying, the aim of height, and the pursuit of dreams. Their color scheme of sunrise orange and passionate purple reflects warmth and energy. Which company, which new kid on the block is this? That's the question for the audience. Audience, head to Twitter, take about 5-10 seconds quickly with the hashtag Udaan 2022. Give your answer and come back as we get underway with our final round. I'll give you about 10 seconds. Right then, let's take a look at the scores heading into the final round. On the team sheet and on the score sheet are all but one of our contestants, but roaring into the lead at this point is Francis Rodriguez from HDFC Live. He's on 35. He's followed by Rajarshi, who's on 20. Shantanu and Vikas both on 15. Umesh still on 10. And Ayman, who's still to open your account. We are now heading to our final round where if you play strategically well, apart from giving right answers, each answer can either help settle the nerve or provide a great deal of comfort. And in a game like this, you can do with it. Let's move on to our final round. It's called Triple Trouble. I'll be giving 5 questions on the buzzer. You'll have 15 seconds of time. 3 buzzers is what will be allowed for every question. Points, 10 points if you give me a right answer, -5 if you give me a wrong answer. However, before you actually give me the answer, you also have the option of stepping up or stepping down. If you decide to step up and give me a right answer, you get a 20, but a -10 if you give me a wrong answer after stepping up. On the flip side, if you decide to step down, you get a +5 if you're correct, a -2 if incorrect. So you can do that if you know you're not too sure of the answer, but you still want to take a chance because you're running out of questions to attempt. And finally, you won't see the entire question on screen. You'll see a key part of the question on screen just by looking at it and looking at the visual. If you think you know the answer, you tell me what your answer is. You can decide to step up or step down, but do that before you actually give me the answer, not after. Because if you do that after, I'll consider it to be a default. Well, that's about it. We're all set. 5 questions coming. The final 5 questions. 2 of you qualify for the national final. Let's begin. Here's question number 1. A recent paper published by Dartmouth College summarized their study in this chart about GDP per capita change worldwide because of what kind of policies or behavior of the US? You can see US attributable damages. What kind of policies or behavior by the US? On the buzzer is Vikas.
I would like to step up.
You'd like to step up. So for +20, your answer.
This is GDP change because of policies on war, basically warring with the countries.
On war, that is incorrect. That's a brave attempt though. However, that's not the right one. So that's a -10 to Vikas. That's not the answer. Nothing related to war. We'll close this question. Francis, that's too late on the buzzer. The answer that I was looking for, although Francis, you can tell me, but not for points.
I think it is sanctions and embargoes.
It's not sanctions either. So,
thank God.
Francis, I saved you some negatives. Right? It's not sanctions either. But this is actually greenhouse emissions. Right? So, American greenhouse emissions leading to GDP damages to other countries. Greenhouse gases emitted in one country causing warming in another, and as a result of which leading to economic losses. Right? So basically the paper talks about how warming can depress economic growth. Not for everyone though. If we go back to the visual, you will see some of the countries closer to the northern hemisphere and even the North Pole and even the South Pole, they've actually benefited because of American greenhouse emissions. They've become more habitable and all that. It's pretty obvious to understand. Only for science inclined ones, not for the arts type. Okay, all right. Bad joke. Right, we'll move on to the next one. Here's number 2, common to everyone. It's for the step up and step down is possible. So for all 3 of you who run the buzzer, so decide accordingly. Here's the next one. Here's number 2. This website is run by a Delhi-based non-profit Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative. It maps the attacks on people who file what? On the buzzer is Vikas again.
Step up. I would go again with RTIs.
Sorry, what's your answer again? You stepped up?
The people who file RTIs.
All right. That is indeed correct. That's the answer. Were you going to change your answer there, Vikas?
No. I was just telling right to information, the people who file right to information.
You're going to expand it. All right. It would have been fun if I would have waited a little moment more and maybe would have gone on another track and made my life difficult about how to come up with a decision. But I'm glad I quickly moved on. But that's correct. You lost 10 on the last question. You get 20 this time. Well done on stepping up. So it's, higher the risk, higher the reward. You suffered the last time, but you went two better this time. So that's well done. So minus 10 on the previous one, plus 10 on this one, both
Plus
to
20.
Vikas. Plus 20, sorry. Yeah. Minus 10 on the previous one, plus 20 on this one. Both times you stepped up. So that's very good. We'll move on to our next question. Here is number 3. This 18th century Swiss doctor's proficiency in providing anatomical models. On the buzzer is Shantanu.
I'll go with Madame Tussauds.
You will go with Madame Tussauds. I'll complete. This 18th century Swiss doctor's proficiency in providing anatomical models for medical students caught the attention of the French royalty. The seed of a famous company was thus planted. Which company is this? That was begun by and is named after the daughter of his housekeeper. Your answer is Madame Tussauds. I'm guessing Shantanu has a strong reason why he decided to not step up. But that is correct. That's well done. It is Madame Tussauds. That's a plus 10. And this crazy competition takes another twist. And this time it's Shantanu who's celebrating, although not too much, because he could have got a 20. He only gets a 10, but that is a very valuable 10 at this stage. With 2 questions remain. 40 points to be won. We will move on to our next question. Here's number 4. But before that, after the end of the next question, if there is any participant who cannot impact the final standings for the top 2, I will have to ask you to not play the last question, right? So we'll take a brief break and quickly check the scores after the end of 4 questions, after the next one, and see if there is any participant that we need to prevent from attempting the last question. Right, here's my question number 4, the penultimate question of the West Zone final. This is the Beatles limited edition 1969 or 1969 Mobla pen based on the album Abbey Road. On the buzzer is Vikas. It's really on a tear in this round. Yes, Vikas.
I would like to step down.
Oh dear, he's not too confident. Sure, go for it. Step down.
This is
Quick, Vikas.
I think the year it was, the date it was founded, something.
That's incorrect. That's a -2, Vikas, because you stepped down. So -2 to Vikas. We'll move on to the next one on the buzzer, and that is Rajarshi. Yes, Rajarshi.
I think I'll step up.
You'll step up.
Yeah, since you mentioned Abbey Road, I will say this is the postcode or the zip code of the Abbey Road in London.
That is incorrect. That's a -10, Rajarshi. I will move on to the next one on the buzzer, the final one on the buzzer, and that is Francis.
I'll step down and I'll say
Step
that
down.
I'll say that this is the this is the number plate on the Volkswagen Beetle that you see in the image.
Oh.
Okay, you're not too confident for that one. You've decided to step down because you weren't really hoping it'll come to the third one. You got
I was not very confident. I mean,
not very confident. The date was taken away. The zip code was taken away. I'll complete the question. This is the Beatles limited edition 1969 Mobla pen based on the album Abbey Road. It features the silhouette of the Beatles crossing Abbey Road. But what does LMW 28IF on the cap refer to? Not the date, not the zip code, but indeed the Volkswagen Beetle number plate that you can see in the visual. That is indeed correct. That's the answer, Francis. But because you stepped down, you get a +5 only. But I'm guessing it's an important, crucial for the record. +5 at least places you for certain for where you want it to be. But that's a -2 to Vikas, a -10 to Rajarshi, and a +5 to Francis. And before we move on to the final question, let's just quickly identify if there's any participant who I'll have to ask. Actually, you can attempt the last question, but I'll prioritize those participants who are really fighting for the top 2 spots. So I'll just check the scores with my team, and I'll tell you if there's anybody who I should stop from participating on the last question.
Also, can we know the scores?
Yeah, I will. I'll have to take a look at it, only then I can add. Just give me a moment. Right, so as it stands, Ayman, I'll have to request you to not. Actually, everybody can play because it basically depends on somebody takes a step up, gives a wrong answer, opens the door for others and all that. But essentially, if Ayman, you go for the buzzer first, you will not be able to, win this quiz or even finish second for that matter, right? So it's advisable for you to not be the first one on the buzzer. You can certainly signal an intent by hitting the buzzer, but if there are others on the buzzer, I'll ask others to I was going to say step up and give the answer, but essentially I can't say step up because that's taken for something else. The others can hit the buzzer, of course, because all of you are well within the game. Similarly for Rajarshi as well, and also for Umesh, the only way you can sort of win or be in amongst the top two is if either Shantanu or Vikas hit the buzzer and take a step up and give a wrong answer and all those combinations. You can still hit the buzzer. All 6 of you can hit the buzzer, but I will manually adjust the order of attempting answers on the basis of how one can impact the scores. So if, for example, Francis, who's currently leading, if he hits the buzzer, he will get to defend his lead. But if it's Vikas or Shantanu who run the buzzer, and not Francis, then of course, whoever hits the buzzer amongst the 2 of them, if Ayman, Rajarshi and Umesh have also hit the buzzer, then I will prioritize both Shantanu and Vikas because they both have a serious chance of being amongst the top 2 and perhaps can also win, right? So that's simply as it is. Between Shantanu and Vikas, there's a difference of 2 points. So Vikas is currently 3rd, Shantanu is currently 2nd, but 15 points ahead of Shantanu is Francis.
Sorry, what is Shantanu's score? 20.
So it's 0 to Ayman, 10 to Rajarshi, 25 to Shantanu, 23 to Vikas, 10 to Umesh, and 40 to Francis. Right, everybody's clear with what you can look forward to in the next question? All right. Okay, so pretty straightforward. Hopefully there won't be any ties and we won't need to do any tiebreaker, but if need be, we will. Final question coming up for the West Zone final. Now, what organization connects? All right.
I should get the priority, Ajay.
Hold on.
No.
Allow me to conduct the proceedings. I can see Rajarshi is on the buzzer, but Rajarshi will have to wait.
I think everybody is in striking distance, Ajay.
But Ajay, you had already mentioned that you would give priority.
No, wait, hold on. Yeah, actually, yes. Rajarshi can go for it.
Ajay, you had said that
everybody can hit the buzzer. Yeah.
Ajay, but you said that even if Rajarshi hits, you will give priority to me or Vikas. You had said that.
No,
I think it was only for Francis to defend, right?
Yeah, it was only for Francis to defend. Right? Rajarshi's gone for it first. So Rajarshi, I will let you answer. What is your answer?
I will step up, Ajay.
You will step up and your answer is?
And I will say this is the Bank of Baroda.
Your answer is Bank of Baroda and you decided to step up.
Yes.
The question was, what organization connects? The answer that I was looking for is indeed Bank of Baroda. Yes. That is absolutely correct. That's well done. That was the Maharaja of Baroda, Sayajirao Gaikwad, founded the bank. And then, of course, Reserve Bank of India directed Bank of Baroda to manage the affairs of the National Bank Limited. India First Life Insurance, a joint venture between Bank of Baroda and a few other banks. And PV Sindhu, the brand ambassador of Bank of Baroda. Well, that was indeed the answer. That's well done, Rajarshi. Very good answer and well done on stepping up as well. Gets you a plus 20. Lovely finish, a delightful end to the quiz. Ebbed and flowed from one to the other until it didn't and went only one way. We'll shortly see the final scores and identify the winners and qualifiers into the national final. But that will have to wait. For now, I have a question for the audience. Right, audience, here's my question. In their original form, these professionals were in charge of wine and wine cellars. before moving up in the rank of their peers to eventually reach senior management. Which profession is this, the name of which organ originated from the medieval Latin word boticula? I'll repeat the question in their original form. These professionals were in charge of wine before moving up in the rank of their peers to eventually reach senior management. Which profession is this, the name of which originated from the medieval Latin word boticula? All right, take about 5-10 seconds. Then we'll start with the final closing ceremony and declaration of results. Right, we're all set to take a look at the final scorecard of the West Zone round here at the 12th Udaan Business Leadership Quiz. Fine performance by all 6 of you, but we could have only taken 2 of you with us, and we've identified who those 2 participants are. Went down till the wire, till the very end. Stiff competition amongst all the participants. All 5 out of the 6 of you that we had here were all previously in the zonal finals, so they were battle hardened. But of course, we could have only selected 2 of you. And so the final scorecard. Right, finishing with no points at all is Ayman. Then in 5th place is Umesh, whose hunt for further qualification from the West Zone into the national final continues another year. Then is Vikas, who fought bravely, got some right, got some wrong, and as a result of which finishes 4th. Also from Sale Bilai, he finishes with a score of 23. Then is Shantanu, the defending champion from West Zone. Unfortunately, couldn't continue his journey into the national final, but very well done. He finishes 3rd. But in 2nd place, exactly like last year, qualified on that last question, took a brave attempt yet again this year, slingshotted his way into the national final. In 2nd place from the West Zone is Rajarshi Chanda with a score of 30. And finally, our winner for the day is Francis Rodriguez from HDFC Life, who slowly but surely piled up few points here and there and eventually landed himself on top of the scoreboard. That's well done. Right, so thank you, contestants, for giving us another memorable one for the vault. All 6 of the participants impressed, but only 2 of them have progressed. Rajarshi, Shantanu, Vikas, everybody chased and chased, but eventually it was Francis. It was his night, as it hadn't ever been in the West Zone round. So for the first time, we have Francis winning the West Zone round, a new winner from the West Zone. Congratulations to both the winners, Francis as well as Rajarshi. We all will have the privilege of seeing each other's faces at the national final. And congratulations to the winners of the audience questions as well. It's fun to be sitting at the home tweeting answers for winning, isn't it? Well, this was the West Zone final of the 12th Business Leadership Quiz organized by Steel Authority of India Limited, National HRD Network Ranchi Chapter, and National HRD Network in association with IILM University. So after a Fab Friday and Super Saturday of quizzing, we'll reset and refresh ourselves before we gather again on Monday the 12th at 8 p.m. This time, our quest for the smartest takes us to the north. On behalf of the Udaan organizing team, I cherish you being with us. Until we meet again, be safe and take care of each other. Peace.